Hi, in this tutorial we'll build an artwork that we can use in a laser cutter. So in this tutorial what we're trying to replicate is the step how we can produce this Easter egg laser cut file. Now we have the egg vector and a set of floral and leaves together. So all these things have been already prepared. I have the artboard is set to 13 by 13 inches. This is set to 12 inches height is 12 inches. So I press alt and drag this to duplicate, and very first thing I want to do is set the no fill, set the color, and I want the thickness of this edge to be at least 5 mm. So this way I want to make sure that when I cut, the edges are not very thin and fragile. So this is a single path. I convert it to an outline stroke, and then I go to the pathfinder. I make it an outline. I ungroup this. So now I have two sets of paths. One is an inner edge and an outer edge. The inner edge will be used to cut and crop the set of floral elements, and the outer edge will be used to create the compound path. I don't need the outer edge right now. I'm gonna lock it up, and I want the inner edge to be more distinctive to know that I'm working with it right now. So I have this inner edge and I have the floral elements. So the next thing I want to do is I want to place the floral elements the way I want them to be cut. Okay, so I make sure this inner edge is on the top. So I press Ctrl Shift and outer bracket, or you can go to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. Once this is on the top, these are all laid out the way I want it. I select them both and go to Pathfinder and click on this minus path. Once I do this, the elements are nicely trimmed out. Now I can release the outer edge and select both and press Ctrl 8, or it you can go to compound path and make it. So Ctrl 8 is a shortcut for creating a compound path. Now this is a ready to use vector cut file. The way I know it is when I press Ctrl Y, I see that there are no other layers or paths hidden. So for example, if I paint this with a color, so the laser will exactly cut out all the paths and it will leave the colored portion. So when I press Ctrl Y, it will start cutting out. Let's zoom in a bit. It will start cutting out this portion, and then it will start cutting out the outer portion. So all the lines that you see will be cut out. And at the end that will left out will be the portion, this portion. Everything that is shown in color will be left out. Now I have this basic path. Now let's create a 3D look out of this. I need to create a series of layers, and the way I do it is I select this, I go to Object and say Offset Path. Now when I do an offset path, I want to set it to a minimum of 2 mm or 3 mm. Okay, so I set this to 3 mm, click OK. And while the bottom, the new path that has been created, the offsetted path, is still selected, so I can go ahead and select a color for it. So now you can see the two distinct layers. Now the bottommost layer, which is a larger layer, is still selected, so I can go Object, path, offset, repeat the step, pick a different color, gain object, path. You can keep doing this until you have decent amount of layers or until majority of the blank portions are covered. And I'm not focusing right now on what colors to use. This is just to show how distinctive each layer is. Okay, so we have nice amount of layers. Now I so when you cut them out as it is, all these layers, you see the bottommost layers are increasing in the size on the outside as well. I mean that is also a good look. You can still see a 3D effect out of it, but I like my outer edges to remain the same as the topmost layer. So how do we achieve? So the one way you can do is in this tutorial I will show how you can achieve it simply by forcing all the bottom layers to the same size as the topmost layer. And that's why it's very important to have the size of the topmost layer. So the top layer is 12. So let's set the top layer to 12 inches because I added the offset, so it kind of added some decimals to it. Now I know my topmost layer is 12 inches, but the height is 12 inches and the width is this, so I can copy the width, so I can paste the exact width to all the bottom layers. Now let's rearrange this thing so I can work with them individually. Okay, so I select this, I remove this restriction, set this to 12. I have the width already copied, so I can paste it directly. Same thing here. Okay, so layers, all the parts have been sized to the same as the topmost. Now I select all of them and align them. So that's my, and for the bottommost layer, I can simply duplicate another layer here as a blank, set it to a desired color and align them. So in this tutorial, basically we actually brute forced all the layers to be of the same size. And what it does is it does create a 3D look. You see as some of the inner edges that are closer to the outer edge, they are kind of uniform and every layer is changed, not it's not uniformly changed because we kind of brought in all the structures together. Now in another tutorial, what I'll show is how you can use a cookie cutter. So this becomes your cutter and you can stamp out the outside edges. So that's it. So this is, and what you can do is you can use a different color style. You can straight away export individual layers as SVG and pull it in and you use it with your laser cutter. I hope you like this tutorial. Thank you.